Okay, let's take a look at a second example here. This one's also going to be talking about sound waves, but in this case, the sound waves are going to be traveling in the water, and they're going to be emitted by a submarine. I got myself a clip art of submarine, so I don't have to attempt to draw one. So looking at this here, it's sending out some sound waves with a frequency of 350 hertz and a wavelength of 4.24 meters. And it tells us that the sonar pulse bounces off a rock face. So we've got a rock face over here, and it returns in 4.3 seconds. And we want to know how far away is the rock. The tricky part to this question is remembering that the sound waves have to go both to the rock and backwards, all the way to the submarine, in order for it to return. But other than that, this question is not too bad. So first of all, we're going to use the universal wave equation. Velocity is equal to frequency times wavelength to find how fast those waves are traveling. 350 hertz multiplied by 4.24 meters gives us a velocity in water here of 1,484 meters per second. And anytime you're dealing with speeds of sound like this, you'll find this with air as well, is that you might get given different values that are off by a little bit, because the speed of sound is affected by things like the density of the water or the temperature. So you will end up with slightly different values depending on the question. In this case, our velocity is 1,484 meters per second. Since we're talking about a velocity that is constant here, we can use a very straightforward kinematics formula of velocity is equal to distance over time. We are looking for the distance here. We know the time, so distance is equal to velocity times time is equal to 1,484 meters per second multiplied by 4.3 seconds. Of course, our units cancel out nicely. And we get a distance of 6,381.2 meters. But remember, this is the distance that the sound wave travels, which is all the way from the submarine to the rock face and back. Since we actually only want half of that distance, we have to divide it by 2, and that will give us 3,190 meters. And that is the answer to how far away the rock face is.